Well, problems continue to mount for U.S. aerospace company Boeing after another string of international safety.
Just into our newsroom, the Justice Department tonight says that Boeing has agreed to plead guilty.
This morning, Boeing says they are ready to take a deal and plead guilty in connection to 2 deadly 737 MAX crashes.
Once the pride of American aviation, with its name boldly written on the sky, Boeing ruled the aviation industry. But now it finds itself frequently making headlines for negative reasons. The latest issue with the Boeing 737 MAX jet was as a result of misdrilled holes. What a mistake. This raises questions about the quality of Boeing Airlines. Is Boeing in crisis? Boeing now has problems on many fronts. Concerns about safety, management, and direction are growing. How did this giant lose its way? This is often seen as a sign of corporate fall. Yet Boeing has a new plane in its lineup. The company's troubles could make air travel even harder. Travelers were facing a major headache of higher prices. And now safety? The truth is that travelers have various airlines to choose from, but these planes are mostly Boeing and Airbus products. Building and maintaining a commercial aircraft is very expensive. Designing a new plane can cost even up to $20 billion depending on the design. These high costs often force new competitors out, though China has tried to develop planes to compete with Boeing and Airbus, which are the 2 top airplane production companies. China unfortunately hasn't succeeded in getting certification in the US or Europe due to political barriers. Boeing's revenue, profits, and stock price were even higher than that of Airbus, but few mistakes would change everything. I mean, Boeing didn't even see them coming. Well, Boeing's controversy started in 1997, when Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas, another plane manufacturing company.
Announcement today in the world of aviation. Boeing and McDonnell Douglas today announced they would join together to form the world's largest aircraft manufacturer.
Purchased by Boeing. Former McDonnell Douglas CEO Harry Stonecipher, who was now elected as President and Chief Operating Officer of Boeing, wanted more profits for the company, so he brought a new focus to Boeing, which was controlling costs, and this affected the engineering culture at Boeing. By 2000, many employees were dissatisfied with the shift in priorities from engineering excellence to more profits. Not long after, Boeing made a decision to move its headquarters to Chicago, away from its manufacturing base in Seattle. Then a decision was made that all Boeing's investment decisions would be based purely on returns. This approach influenced Boeing's investments in new airplane programs like the 787 Dreamliner. The Dreamliner was unveiled with much fanfare. Boeing outsourced much of the plane's design and manufacturing to save costs, a move from its traditional in-house approach. The Dreamliner was profitable to Boeing and boosted Boeing's financial returns. Then Boeing increased stock buybacks, repurchased some of its lost shares worth about $38 billion from 2014 to 2019. This move pleased so many of Boeing's investors, but frustrated longtime employees as Boeing cut pensions and laid off senior engineers. Meanwhile, during this period, Boeing was developing numbers of its 737 MAX. The 737 MAX was made to compete with Boeing's #1 rival, Airbus, which had introduced the fuel-efficient A320neo. Boeing had to quickly develop the 737 MAX to match Airbus and secure orders from many airlines. Boeing then thought of coming up with a new design to make the plane more efficient and to save fuel. This led to the addition of the MCAS system, which was concealed to avoid time spent on pilot training, so Boeing would quickly sell out the 737 MAX to other airlines and make money. Some leaked emails even showed that Boeing had to lie to the FAA to get the Boeing 737 MAX certified quickly. But why the rush? What was the MCAS system? Was it actually so insignificant that the pilots needed no training on it? Let's find out. To compete with Airbus's new fuel-efficient planes, Boeing decided to upgrade the engine on their 737 plane to also make it fuel-efficient. However, there was a problem. If you compare a sketch of the 737 with the Airbus A320, you'll see that the 737 sits lower to the ground than the A320. This allowed Airbus to fit a new engine under the wing of the A320, but there wasn't enough space under the wing of the Boeing 737. But a few months later, Boeing's product development team head announced some big news. He said they had found a way to fit a larger engine under the wing by moving it up slightly. Boeing named this model the 737 MAX. Boeing also claimed that their new plane was so similar to the old one that pilots would only need minimal extra training. The 737 MAX became the best-selling plane on the market, helping Boeing compete with Airbus. But moving the engine up on the 737 MAX had an unintended consequence. When the 737 MAX was at full power, like during takeoff, the nose tended to point too far upward, which could cause a stall. This was an issue because the planes were supposed to be easy to pilot, just like the old ones. So Boeing came up with a workaround. Instead of redesigning the planes, they added software that automatically pushed the nose down if the pilot flew the plane at a steep angle. They called this system the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MCAS. But because Boeing was marketing the 737 MAX very fast, they didn't emphasize the new MCAS system. Many pilots only received a 2-hour iPad course before flying the plane for the first time, and the training materials didn't even mention this new software. In 2018, several American pilots reported to the government that the 737 MAX was suddenly nosing down. But this wasn't properly handled, and this was the beginning of Boeing's fall. The first Boeing 737 MAX crash occurred on October 29, 2018, when Lion Air Flight 610 crashed, killing everyone on board. The pilots were experienced, with the captain having over 6,000 flight hours and the first officer over 5,000. Everything seemed fine as they took off from Jakarta, but minutes into the flight, a problem started. The MCAS system's single sensor malfunctioned, sending incorrect data and making the aircraft believe it was stalling, causing the plane to pitch down sharply. The pilots tried to troubleshoot the problem and contacted the airline's maintenance team for help, but they couldn't solve it. The plane became hard to control, and as they attempted to return to Jakarta Airport, the MCAS system continued to act on the false data, eventually overriding the pilots and forcing the plane into a downward pitch. The pilots couldn't regain control, and the plane crashed into the Java Sea at a speed of 450 miles per hour, just 13 minutes after takeoff. Another MAX crash happened on March 10, 2019, involving Ethiopian Airlines Flight 304 from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to Nairobi. The crew experienced the same issues as Lion Air 610, with the MCAS system thinking a stall was happening due to a broken sensor. Despite the pilots following Boeing's recommended procedures to disable the system and manually control the plane's altitude, the plane continued to oscillate and dive, ultimately crashing and killing all 157 people on board. These two crashes led to the grounding of the entire MAX fleet worldwide by March 18, 2019. An international investigation later revealed that the MCAS system had a fault and relied on a single sensor. However, Boeing denies these claims. With only 2 suppliers of large commercial airplanes, Airbus can't handle all the demand alone. Will Boeing turn things around? Of course it's possible, but truth be told, it will take time. Airline customers like Southwest, United, and Alaska are frustrated already by Boeing's fall and want Boeing to improve quality. But this won't happen overnight. Boeing hit the world twice, but for different reasons. Once for its rise, and twice for its fall. Well, we all know the saying: the higher the rise, the harder the fall.